Before we begin the Yizkor service, I want to focus on those last couple of verses of the Torah reading. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 16 and 17, that encourage us at the very end of the holiday. At the very end of the holiday, the Torah encourages us that there are 3 times we should come together during the 3 main festivals, Shalosh Regalim, the 3 legs upon which the Jewish calendar sits, and those are Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot. And those are also the 3 holidays on which we recite Yizkor, of course, in addition to Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is another example of a time of year at the very end during the Nila service. Every year I stand on the bima and I encourage people to come back and visit during the year. Thousands come onto our campus. Thousands visit during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. On the only 3-4 days of the year that we require tickets to be admitted onto the campus, that's when people come. And I always stand at the end of the holidays and encourage people as my last message to please join us during the year as well. It's a lost opportunity when people only experience the synagogue during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The Talmud sees the placement of those 2 verses of convening, of making sure that we convene differently. There's an argument about Bal Tacher, about missing the opportunity to make the sacrifice. And so the Torah says at the end of Passover, if you've missed the opportunity of Passover, not to worry, there's another 2 opportunities. And the rabbis ask, well, what happens to Jews who don't read those sentences until the end of Sukkot and they don't have other opportunities? And that begins a long tangent that we're not going to talk about today. But I'd like to believe that there's a core message, a takeaway in those sentences that's deeper than just an advertisement for the amazing programming that goes on in this synagogue, that went on in the Beit HaMikdash, that have gone on in every Jewish institution created over the thousands of years. And I think it's fitting to talk about today because the last time that we gathered as a community to recite Yizkor was October 7th. And it was a very different type of Yizkor service. On that Shmini Atzeret, we gathered as a community with a great deal of pain and confusion, with a lack of clarity of both what had happened and what was about yet to unfold. There was a great deal of hurt and fear. And we came together that morning into the warm embrace of Jewish community. Since that October 7th, since that last Yizkor, so much in this world has changed. October 7th saw the Hamas perpetrated massacre. We have since seen and recited the names of so many fallen IDF soldiers who have stepped up during this time to protect a Jewish future in our ancestral homeland. We still pray for the release of the hostages being held in captivity. And in addition to all of the pain and the fear that we feel as a people, it seems as though war and death has engulfed much of the world as well. Chaos, anarchy has swept across college campuses. something that we watched during the morning of the last Yizkor service, has now not only reached our shores, but is influencing the way that people drive to work in the morning. I get messages from people who have children in college students themselves. What happened in Israel no longer remains in Israel, but is being felt in every country around the world. Over the last year or so, while the whole rest of the world has fallen into the state of pain and crisis and war, we have returned again and again and again to this place, to this synagogue, as a moral compass, as a place that could hold us and support us, as a place where we could find each other. We came together in Washington, D.C. for an incredible rally. We came together for a meaningful mission to Israel. Communities across the country have planned missions to Israel. Applications to day schools around Los Angeles and indeed around the country are through the roof. October 7th changed our standing in the world. It not only impacted us as Jews, it impacted the world, and the world feels a little bit off kilter. And I want to believe that the wisdom of the Torah extends to us in this moment. The wisdom of the Torah, the selection of this reading this morning, offers us a glimmer of hope. That if you enjoyed the holiday that just was, please know that that feeling of comfort and community and strength and a little bit of a slight dose of certainty in this unsure world, it's available to you if you visit again. We don't only offer it on the Chagim. And so I know that so many of us come to synagogue to mourn our loved ones. But there is a greater sense of grief in society today than just our own personal families. This year has taught us that what happens to your family affects my family, and what happens in my family affects your family. The well-being of my friends' kids affects the well-being of my own. And so, as we stand for Yizkor, I want us to stand and appreciate the feeling that's going to be in this room. And know that that feeling of love and support is here for you in moments of personal mourning and personal grief. It's here in moments of communal uncertainty and communal challenge. And it's here when we try to ascertain the future of our people together. These services, these institutions, from the Mishkan forward, were developed for moments just like this. For us stand together and for us to contemplate the big questions that face us all. The mortality of our loved ones, the future of our people. I hope that the Torah's wisdom of us coming together will help guide us forward between this Yizkor and the next, during times of chaos and fear we have to remember that in this room, we can always find love and family. Please rise as we open the ark for the Yizkor service.